Hello, my name is Jennifer, and this is my presentation on my imaginary child. This will cover their journey from conception to adulthood. So, I'll be starting with stage 1, the prenatal stage, which is conception to birth. Here, I'll be talking about teratogens. For Serenity's case, she was exposed to alcohol, which means that there's a chance that she will be born with either fetal alcohol syndrome, partial fetal alcohol syndrome, or alcohol-related neurodevelopmental disorder, which means that she will show signs of slow physical growth, facial abnormalities, and mental impairment. And all of these issues occur because of drinking during the first trimester. And because there's no specific treatments that can help reverse these effects, early intervention is recommended, such as specialized therapies like speech, occupational, or physical therapy. Now for stage 2, infancy and toddlerhood, which is age 0 to 2, I'll be talking about the APGAR score, which is a quick assessment of the newborn's health immediately after they're born. So the goal here is just to score a 7 or higher. So for Serenity, she scored a 6, which means that she needed a little assistance. If she had scored any lower, that means that she would have needed emergency medical attention. And her score is most likely a result of the teratogens, so the alcohol. So that means she might have showed signs of alcohol withdrawal, or even low birth weight, or the facial abnormalities, like I mentioned. During this stage, she's around 4.5 months old. So if we look at her gross motor skills, we can see that she can lift her chest, roll, and even hold her head steady without support. And as for fine motor skills, we can see that she can hold and grasp objects, bring toys to her mouth, and play with rattles. Now for stage 3, early childhood, which is age 2 to 6. So Piaget's concept of adaptation is the idea that cognitive development is done through adapting information by assimilation and accommodation. So this shows that the process changes a child's cognitive capability by building through interactions with their environment. So for the drawing that I did, I'm showing that Serenity believes that anything that has wheels and moves quickly is a car. And to accommodate that, she will soon figure out that just because it has wheels doesn't make it the same thing. Now for stage 4, which is early and middle childhood. For example, fine motor development stage. It involves a refined use of the small muscles, controlling the hands, fingers, and thumb. So the key stages of this are scribbling, first representational form, and then realism. So, making it look more real. It's not a blob. It's not a stick figure. So, for example, in the first drawing, I'll be showing Serenity's drawing that she did when she was 4 years old. This image shows that she's at stage 2, which is first representational forms, because the art is very simplified, but it's comprehensible. And now for the second drawing, you can tell that there is a huge improvement made, and you can tell by the way that the figures have defining features. And that is because Serenity was 6 years old when she drew this, so that would put her at stage 3, which is more realistic. Next, for stage 5, education and cognitive development. For the 4 educational philosophies, the first one is traditional classroom. This is the classic teacher in charge. Next is constructivist classroom. So here it's a little different. Students are essentially in charge of their own progress. They solve their own problems and they receive little bit of support. Next is social constructivist classroom. Here it's very different. Students work with both their teacher and classmates to complete tasks. Lastly, cooperative learning. This one's very different. This one's more of students working together in groups to discuss and complete their tasks. For Serenity's case, I chose to have her attend a social constructivist class just because I feel like it would be better for her to receive support from both her classmates and instructor. Now for stage 6, adolescent to adulthood. So Erik Erikson developed the theory of psychosocial development, which is the belief that individuals go through 8 different developmental stages, starting from birth and ending with old age. Since we are on adolescence, we are going to focus on identity versus role confusion. We'll be talking about Marcia's 4 identity statuses. The first being achievement, which is exploring certain goals or beliefs and committing to them. Next is moratorium, which is exploring certain goals or beliefs but not committing to them. Next is diffusion, which is not committing to a goal or belief and failing to explore options. Lastly, foreclosure, which is committing to a goal or belief without exploring other options. Now, having that in mind, I'll be going over 2 postcards that Serenity has sent me. So for the first one, she's showing clear signs of identity diffusion just because she's unsure about continuing school. She feels like dropping out. And for the second one, she's showing signs of identity achievement, and that's because she finally has received support. She went to a counselor. She's talking to an academic advisor. While we are still on adolescence, let's talk about milestones. The first one being that girls develop a lot sooner than boys because of the combination of estrogen and adrenal androgen. Lastly, kids from immigrant households oftentimes rebel and reject their ethnic background because their freedom is compromised, especially if they have strict parents. Lastly, here is the school report card and photo. So here are the 17 things about Serenity, and here is the photo of her. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation on her.